Hello again. Today I want to address a critical point made by Steve Gregg in his book, Why Not Full Preterism? On page 151, regarding the resurrection of the dead, Steve asserts there are no time texts associated with the event, nor any compelling reason to believe that it ever occurred in the past. Now, this statement challenges a fundamental understanding of biblical prophecy and chronology. But upon closer examination, we find compelling scriptural evidence to the contrary. At the heart of this discussion is the Greek word MELLO. It is Strong's number 3195 and carries two primary meanings. The first, to be about to be on the point of doing or suffering something. It signifies imminent action. And second, to intend, to have in mind or to think to, which can imply a certain future event without specifying its immediate timing. Now, Steve in his work often leans heavily on this secondary meaning, often downplaying the imminent sense of MELLO even when it appears in context that might suggest a fulfilled eschatology. He illustrates his point by using Matthew 16:27, where Jesus declares, "For the Son of Man will come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he will reward each according to his works." Here, will come is translated from MELLO. Now, on page 26, Steve poses the question directly. Should the words of Jesus be rendered, "The Son of Man is about to come in the glory of his Father," or "The Son of Man will certainly come in the glory of his Father"? So to answer Steve's question, all we need to do is practice good hermeneutics. We need to interpret Scripture with Scripture. Unfortunately, Steve, in his analysis, stops short. He fails to continue reading just one verse further. The true impact of Jesus' words in Matthew 16:27 become undeniably clear when we read verse 28, stating, "Assuredly, I say to you, there are some standing here who shall not taste death till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom." So how else can we logically read MELLO in verse 27 in light of this explicit generational time text in verse 28 other than the Son of Man is about to come in the glory of his Father? This isn't a mere certainty, it's an immediate generation-specific promise. This direct connection between the Son of Man's coming and the lifespan of his contemporary audience is not an isolated incident. This coming described in Matthew 16:27 is echoed in the Olivet Discourse in Matthew 24. There Jesus vividly describes the cosmic signs and the gathering of the elect in Matthew 24:29-31. Events traditionally associated with the general resurrection. And critically, just 3 verses later, Matthew 24:34, Jesus states, "Assuredly, I say to you, this generation will by no means pass away until all these things take place." Now, all these things encompass the entirety of the preceding prophecy, including the gathering of the elect and the coming of the Son of Man. Jesus himself sets the time parameters for these events to occur within the generation he was speaking to. And this theme of imminence continues throughout the New Testament. Consider Acts 24:15, where Paul speaks of a resurrection of the dead. Steve again asks whether it means there is about to be a resurrection of the dead, or there is certainly determined to be a resurrection of the dead. Given Jesus' own statements in Matthew, the context strongly favors imminent reading. Furthermore, Revelation 22:12-13 at the very end of the biblical canon affirms, "And behold, I'm coming quickly, and my reward is with me to give to everyone according to his work." The adverb quickly reinforces the urgency and the imminence of Christ's coming and the associated reward, which includes the resurrection. Now, finally, let's turn to the Old Testament prophecy in Daniel chapter 12, a foundational text for understanding the resurrection. Daniel 12:1-2 speaks of a time of unparalleled trouble, followed by the deliverance of God's people and the awakening of those who sleep in the dust of the earth to everlasting life and everlasting contempt. This mirrors the post-tribulation resurrection language in Matthew 24. And when does Daniel indicate this event will occur? Well, in Daniel 12:5-7, the angelic messenger swears by him who lives forever that it shall be for a time, times, and half a time. And when the power of the holy people has been completely shattered, all these things shall be finished. The historical record confirms that the power of the holy people, Israel, was indeed shattered during Jesus' parousia in AD 70, a period precisely within the generation Jesus indicated. Therefore, when Steve argues that there are no time texts for the resurrection, he is by extension minimizing the clear generation-specific declarations made by Jesus and the other biblical writers. He applies a secondary non-imminent meaning to MELLO, where the surrounding verses clearly demand an immediate one. So I encourage you to delve into these scriptures for yourself. Don't disparage the imminent time statements and their direct audience relevance, as some interpretations may inadvertently do. Embrace them, because that's where the profound truth of biblical fulfillment is found. God bless.